What's up, everybody? Johnny's back. How have you guys been? If it feels like I'm somewhere different, it's because I moved houses. Just got the studio set up in the new place. Yay! Here we are. Recently, I did a demo for the new bare knuckle pickups NOMADs, which is a Rebea Massad's Telecaster pickups. Sitting over there. Really good, cool. I figured we'll do a little what's in the mix kind of thing where I go over what's in the arrangements, production tricks I've used and stuff like that. Maybe you'll find that helpful. I sure think it's fun to talk about. So I'm going to do this in segments. Let's start with the intro, the opening part. I'll play it, and then we talk about it. Cool beans? All right, there it is. Okay, cool. So we got let's start from the top here. So I have a clean guitar. I ran this into my modded by Tommy Focus on Marshall JMP1. And the bridge pickup sounds like this. I double that on the neck pickup. And I used a doubler, Waves doubler on that, just to space it out a little bit. That way I get the bridge pickup a little bit out on the sides, and I get the neck pickup. Sorry, the exact opposite. I get the bridge pickup in the center, neck pickup out on the sides. And then to, get a little bit of variation when it goes into the second part, I do the exact opposite. So now it's the so on the second portion, I just switch what's in the sides and what's in the center. I wanted to display both pickups on the clean set. There we get more of that telly twang, but it's kind of like telly going animals as leaders. At least that was my inspiration. Then I just want to make this sound kind of nice and big, so I routed the clean guitars, and then I threw a bit of reverb, like a close reverb, and then a little bit of ambiance. It's just like longer reverb and delay. And what else we got going on? Ooh, very mysterious. We got some synthesizers. Let's listen to it. So this is something I do a lot. I'll just like add little coloring agents in the background. I don't want them to be necessarily very audible. I just want them to fill out the space. It's a little more there, and then we have a synthesizer here. It just keeps building up to it, right, on top of the drones. See what else is going on. And because this part is different, I wanted to also feel different with the arrangement. So here I added and that is just a piano with a kind of brass pad. And then I had a really messy melody here, but it got distracting, so I took it out. It does show up later in the song, though. Nice, solid arrangement. So all the keyboards sound like this. Also, we have a band. The bass comes in and the drums come in. And if you wonder what makes the drums sound so kind of almost distorted, it's universal audio distressor. And we got some distortion on it. I used as a parallel compression on the drums. So that's what you're hearing. Cool, we're in the heavy metal section. Alrighty, let's see what goes on here. So we got some rhythm guitars. Let's just listen to the parts. There's quite a bit of stuff going on here. It's a good bit longer, but let's go to maybe here. Let's check it out. Alrighty, got a lot of stuff happening there. First things first, we got some rhythm guitars. So what I did here, I tracked normal left and right, but I also did a DI recording, and then I reamped. So what you're hearing, what you're seeing in red is a Angle Artist Edition. And what you're seeing in more of like a maroon color, I guess, slightly browner red, it's the 14 sigil. So I took my Angle on the left, and then the reamped 14 sigil on the right, and then I took my reamped, let me make sure, then I took the second guitar Angle, panned that. How do I have that panned? Oh, it's also left, but slightly less left, and then the reamp to the right. So just the two guitars. I know it's a mess. That's a Angle and a 14 sigil. And then on the doublers, it's a little bit different in character, right? So it's important that you try to make this sound different. And the best way of doing that is to just change the cabinet. I don't use any real speakers. It's all speaker simulation. So the guitars that record, into the amp, into the cab, I got a Capture X from 2Notes. And then when I reamp, sometimes I'll just use either I'll use a different cab simulation, or I'll use Wall of Sound from also from 2Notes. That looks like Torpedo Wall of Sound. It looks like this. It's super easy to just like switch the cabs out, switch the mics out, because when you're stacking layers of guitar, you really want it to sound different. Otherwise, there's no point at all. So that's a rhythm guitar. Didn't really do a terrible amount of, just took out a little bit here and there. Haven't really done all that much to them. As usual, I'm sidechaining a lot, but not so much on this part. But that's more like when the lead stuff comes in and need to get the rhythm guitars out of the way. Instead of automating like a mad person, I just sidechain to let the plugins do the work for me. Here's a clean guitar. It sounds really nice. I think I just recorded. Yeah, so I just recorded the same part in octaves routed them to a bus. And I gave that bus a little bit of my ambiance. And that is really just a reverb and a delay. And then I squash it a bit with a compressor. Together it sounds like this. Hey, what's the bass doing? My favorite bass amp in the whole world, the Universal Audio Ampeg. Love it. And that's just the bass going straight in, by the way. And here's a really good one for bass. What's that positive grid? It's just a simple distortion pedal, but it works really well on bass, so I tend to use it a lot. As usual, I just have a bass mono, and then I blend distortion into taste. And also, bass is moving around a little bit more. The guitar, it's just triplets, right? So the bass is kind of playing a little bit of a melody here. Got a little melody. And mind you, all of these guitars are recorded on the exact same guitar. I just changed the amps around and stuff. No, that's wrong. This is the one. Triplet melody. And I think this is my also focus on hot rodded JCM 800 Marshall. And I tried to make this sound dirty. Just to get when you start layering sounds, make sure they have a little different color and character. Otherwise, if everything sounds the same, it's really hard to make anything heard, you know. So I don't try to make everything sound the best they can. I try to make it fit, you know. There we go. And the reason I gave the harmonies 2 different tracks is because I want to pan them out a little bit. Pan them out. Pan them out. Anyways, the first part of the melody is dead center. And rather than me automating, because it annoys me if I need to change anything later. If I have the processing power to just add more channels, I will often just add more channels. In Logic, it's really easy. All you need to do is click this guy, and it will give you a copy with everything on it, plugins and the whole 9. So there's also a bit of a Jupiter. Is this a Jupiter? No, it's Berlin Express. I add this sound to almost everything I do. It's the Logic Retro Synth under pads. There's one called Berlin Experience. And boy, does it find its way into a lot of shit I do. I think we just double that one. And it's just to make that melody stand out a little bit. You can't really hear the keyboards in the mix, but they make the melody feel different. It just adds color. And this part was a pain in the ass to record. So we have more triplets, but I pick them now, and I also added a harmony here. And mind you, I write this as I record it. It's not like I had 2 weeks to practice it. So a lot of times there are some wonky fucking takes in there, but oh well, such is life. Cool. I think that's it for the triplets and the melody. Not too much studio trickery going on here. I just try to make it sound nice and fit together. So let's look at the next part. All right, let's call this the heavy part. It's really just a variation of the riff that we had earlier. So let's run this up to where the solo begins. Where the heck is that? Yes, I think it's all the way over here. Cool, let's listen. All right, cool. Let's see what's going on here. So we have a new clean guitar, and I did a little bit of trickery in this one. So this is my Bad Cat amplification, Black Cat. It has a reverb. So that's pretty cool. But I don't like to record with reverb because if it's too much, I'm screwed and then I have to redo it. And that makes me a sad panda. So here's what I did. I recorded first just the dry, also like this. Then I recorded one with the reverb on full, ran a DI back into it with a different cab, I think. Again with the reverb on full, and it gave me these two. And I guess I added some tremolo. I added that after the fact. But yeah, that is the Bad Cat on a separate two separate takes with the reverb all the way maxed out. So by adding this to my dry parts, I had more options to get the amplifier reverb, but in the amount that I wanted later. That makes sense. Yeah, that's not a cool thing I can do because I can cut out the, as you can see up here, I cut out the actual lead clean part, but I let the reverb ring through. So in context, you hear a little bit of the spillover without the actual clean part getting into it. And as you can see here, I recorded an octave, but I didn't like it. I thought it was too much, too distracting. So I took it out. And I do this a lot. I will always record way more stuff than I need. Because then I have options. I like options. Yeah, let's take a look at this. So what happens next is, actually, we should probably talk about the lead guitar sidechain. This one is called. Whenever I want to sidechain something out of the way, say there's a solo, there's a melody, or there's whatever I want to be heard, instead of using a million multi-band compressors that I then sidechain to the different things, I would make like a master sidechain track. So this track here is anywhere I have something in the center I want to be heard. And there's no output on this because I don't need there to be an output, but I will take this signal and use it to sidechain stuff. And to show you what I mean, this one is set to lead guitar sidechain, right? Here I have all this set up, so Pro MB. And anytime you see anything on this track here, this multiband is going to start pushing down the rhythm guitars, okay, and in this frequency. So rather than me automating down the rhythm guitars, I just let the the plugin do it for me. So keep an eye here and keep an eye here. And then this essentially becomes the volume control for my rhythm guitars. So every time there's something I want to cut through, because it's so dense, there's so much guitar, I can just adjust this one by moving the threshold and the range. So how much do I want to get out of the way? It's very convenient. And once I've figured out how to do this, it's found its way into everything I do. It just makes it easier to mix, I think. And yeah, this is just the same part, but on a different cabinet, different, I think it's still the Batcat. And I added, so we got the Torpedo wall-up sounder, and I added an octave to it, so. And now the reverb comes from my ambiance channel. Here's a nice little clean part. Adding context. I don't know if you noticed, but I like when a lot of things happen at the same time. Okay, so here's something. Learn from me. Here's something you need to be very aware of. If you have ever used a sustain at the end of your, so you shouldn't even be there. What the hell? Sometimes I will leave the sustain pedal on and there will just be a note ringing because according to the computer, it's still being sustained. Is that what it is? So you need to be down here. Who put that there? Okay, because if the sustain pedal was still on, as it just were, you would just have a note ring forever and you have no idea what's going on. It will drive you crazy. But yeah, I guess that's part. Let's start checking out the solo. All right, very nice, John. Thank you very much. Let's take a look at what's going on. First and foremost, there's a new riff. I feel like this solo section needs to have its own little, exist in its own little world. It sounds like this. Rhythm guitars. Bass. And just to make those bang, bang, just to make those chords a little bit bigger, I've added some keyboards because I like keyboards. Ha, just kidding, those are guitars. I added some guitars. Okay, but I also added some keyboards. Where are they? Here we go. Jupiter. And this is the same as that. It's just when the guitar comes in, I might want to EQ it a little different, or I might want to put it farther back in the mix, whatever it might be. That's why I use several tracks. Let's take a look at the lead guitar. So this is the JMP1, hot rodded by Tommy Folkesson, or as we call him, Tommy Folkesson. He's a Swedish amplifier wizard. Not bad for a Telecaster style, right? And here's what I did because I like to make it more. I doubled the. Did I nudge it? I might have nudged it. Yeah, I nudged it a little bit. I doubled it and I added a sample delay, which is just offsets the left and the right channel. It's kind of like putting a doubler on it. It sounds like this by itself. And just pushes it out left and right. You know, phase shifting magic together. I just feel it, you have the solo in the middle, but you also have a little solo over here. It feels like it's, you know, it's coming behind you and whispering in your ear a little bit. Also have a not very at all Steve Vai-esque harmony thing here. I gotta love it. Whenever I find myself in Mixolydian or Lydian land, I tend to buy it up a little bit. Oh, and here's an interesting thing from the last video I talked about this lead guitar sidechain. So I've just doubled the solo. I just copied it into here. Mind you, there's no output, so this channel doesn't make any sound at all. But I take this information, this signal, and then it goes onto a multi-band compressor, my rhythm guitar bus. And by doing so, when the guitar comes in, it pushes the rhythm guitar down. So instead of everybody competing about, hey, guitar, it's just an automated volume control. Let's do this. I'll put this in bypass for a little bit and we can just listen to maybe 3 or 4 bars, and then I activate it again. You can just hear how nothing feels like it gets louder, it's just less crowded. Just look at those harmonies, I guess. Sounds like this. It's very Steve Vai-esque. Hey, I listened a lot to Passion and Warfare when I was in my formative years. Just from a arranging standpoint, more harmonies to sound like this. Hanging more on 4 and 5ths than I normally would. Alrighty. Here is the heavy section, I guess. Let's check out what's going on. Let's listen first. Alrighty, heavy chugga chugga, you gotta have a heavy chugga chugga. So let's check out the rhythm guitars. Certainly feels like there's more, and there is this guy. Can't remember if that is the Bad Cat diameter, if it's the fourth. It's probably the fourth. So here's something I've started doing on riffs. I track one more guitar, so that's guitar number 5 really, and I just pan it center, and hopefully I can cut out a little bit of frequencies that collide with snare drum and whatnot, and yeah, just blend to taste. And I try to make it real fat, so it doesn't necessarily need to sound good, it just needs to sound fat. Right? It's a nice, you know, hey, riff, listen to the riff. So I'll put something in the center. So a lot of stuff going on here. I have that clean portion. That's very Slayer, the first riff. Thank you, Slayer. And then I just have the same thing with the solo, where I'm using the lead guitar side chain just to push the rhythm guitars out of the way whenever I play something solo. And I added a new track, so everything's the same. It's the same EQ and stuff. It's just I want to show the lead tone on the neck pickup, so I had to do something with that. So here we are. Also no keyboards here because I wanted to feel heavy. And that doubling trick, not to be confused with Dublin, that's a city in Ireland, the capital even. I haven't had it here, and that's just like to create a little bit of making the parts feel different. But I bring it back in towards the end to create excitement towards the transition of the next phase. All righty. Cool. With this, we're at the very final portion of the song, and here I kind of went ham a little bit on the counterpoint. So counterpoint is when you have melodies that move independently of each other but harmonically work together. And I've been a sucker for this ever since I was a wee lad. You know, all the classical masters, Bach was probably the master of all the masters. Really into it. And if you go even farther back to like the, you know, choral music of like Palestrina and stuff like that, everything is counterpoint, and it really tickles my brain in the most joyful way. So here, harmonically, this is just a G minor to a D major. It's just like a 1 minor to a 5 chord, you know, a dominant 5 chord, and that gives me a lot of room to mess with this stuff. So let's listen, and then I'll break it down. All right, you get the idea. Let me play each part individually for you, separately for you. So, the riff is the same as we heard in the very beginning, where we had that neck pickup clean. But now it's with distortion. Where does it start? So there's a lot of movement, right? But I got it panned left and right, so I have some space in the middle. What's the bass doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You get the idea. We have the clean part from before. We have octaves. What are you guys doing? So it's pretty similar to what the bass is doing. There's some power chords because why not? And then we're into the real fun stuff. So this is where I might have gone off the rails a little bit with the counterpoint. Let's listen to the first part. Harmony. Here's the next harmony. Here's the next voice. And of course that wasn't enough. And this one I doubled with an octave. And I think a lot of this is the same amp. It's that Marshall again, the JSM 800, Tommy Fulkerson Mark 7. But I mess with the cab simulation a little bit. And again, I'm not trying to get all of these to be the perfect lead guitar tone. I'm trying to give them a little bit different flavor and texture. Here's those 5, I guess, or 6, depending on how you see it. In context. How do we make this even more epic? Well, we throw a piano on it, of course. How do we make this even more epic? We throw more piano on it, of course. Yeah, it's getting a little stupider. And here's that synth lick from earlier. With the piano. Man, it's so much. And with everything in it, say for me. And this is very Yngwie-esque. but he in turn stole it from, guys that came before him. And also, how do I get this to stay out of each other's way? Because there's so many parts. Again, I multi-band sidechain quite a bit. So let's take this for example. When we have this first part, when the third harmony comes in, I have this channel sidechained to, where are you? Rhythm guitar, you can go away. So here, it's not until the next harmony, sorry. So lead 4 I have sidechained to the first two melodies. So when this fourth melody comes in, it automatically ducks out the first 3, I think. No, the first 2. So they automatically get lower in volume, just leave space for a new one. And then when the 5th melody comes in, that ducks away the 4th melody. So like every new layer ducks out the layer that came before it. And I also do this with the power chords and the octaves and the clean guitars and all that stuff. So it's really just a way to get the plugins to do the volume automating for me. So I don't have to, because if I go in and automate something, then I might think that guitar is a little loud or a little low. And I can't just use the faders anymore. And it drives me crazy. Anyways, that is my NOMAD bare knuckle pickups Rasea Masad signature demo and what's going on in the mix and the arrangement. So I hope you found this useful. Let me know if you want me to make more of this stuff, all the shits that's, spinning in my head all the time. So if you found this interesting and maybe you learned something, got inspired, what do I know? Let me know and I'll make more of these. I probably will make more of these anyways, but it's cool. It's cool if you want to see it too. All right, cool. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.